Wow, this is so great. I just love the faces here. I love being in this community. I sort of feel like I've sort of come home again, you know. It's sort of, we all kind of get it in a way, and it's just wonderful to see you. And you all have beautiful faces, and I'm sure the new graduates are really excited. But I have good news for you. The excitement doesn't end. It continues to be fun and meaningful and great. So, good morning. All right. It's wonderful to be here in this sacred space. And it's sacred because our purpose here is to affirm the values of celebrancy and to support others in the expression of those values, and to take the opportunity to celebrate and refresh them in community, in our growing family. We're also here for the rite of passage for those newly trained in this art. For our new graduates, it will be a moment to separate from their accustomed ways of being, and a moment to pivot and to transform into a new social role that reflects a transformation within. It's serious business, and this will initiate a return to their world renewed. What we create here this weekend will also alter and change the overall celebrant community, its chemistry, its way of being, and therefore the whole world, in a sense, will be touched because we touch a lot of people in our work. Ours is not to complete the task of transforming the world into one which honors and celebrates the magic hour of everyday lives, but neither are we free to neglect it. Whatever our beliefs, we can agree that this moment, this gorgeous, unique moment, which will never be repeated, is a moment for personal exploration and community building, which, conveniently, is the subject of my talk today. See how I kind of led up to that? So you're seeing the wiring into the boards here. The truth is that, though, however, the way I see it, the process of creating and officiating at a ceremony, whatever it is both a personal exploration and a way to build closeness and community. Ceremonies celebrate and affirm something that we care about and express that in words, music, and symbolic actions that leave us touched and connected. In this group, it goes almost without saying that ceremonies can be about almost anything we care about. I mean, literally anything we care about, actually. Birth, coming of age, marriage, elderhood, dying and death, worship, God, nature, principles, freedom, shadow, nature, seasons, love, gratitude, family, stewardship, social justice. All of this is possible in ceremonies because it's all human, and therefore we can celebrate it, we can explore it, we can go down deep and see what it means for us and what it means for each other, and create that with others. Whatever the subject of the ceremonies that we pick, ceremonies are always, I always think of them as sacred theater. Their purpose is not only to entertain, although they must also be entertaining, but they're also deepen us inside and promote awareness and connect us to each other, and bind us to the abiding underlying causes, the wiring under the boards, if you like, of our common life, and which make continued life meaningful and give it purpose, whether or not you conceive of this work or our purposes to partake of the divine per se. Ceremonies are about the biggest possible abstract picture and the smallest concrete detail. Consider a wedding, for example. There is a legal concrete dimension to traditional weddings. Two people are merging. They're changing their legal and their financial status in society. And society has a stake in marriage, which is why it's licensed. It's not just nothing. But that bond usually grows out of something much more fundamental and abiding in the human experience. Marriage is an action in the face of our aloneness, our need for love, support, and connection. It is an answer to a yearning, and in the best of marriages, it fulfills our wishes to give to one another, to be key players in a shared dance, and to learn the lessons that come with intimate partnership, compassion, and sacrifice. To me, marriage means love, balance, connection, wisdom, peace entwined with the exhilaration of shared adventure, and often children, and a future that outlives us. Now, that's just what it means to me. What it means to the couple we were marrying is what we're trying to learn and what we try to help them express. That's the whole celebrant thing right there. To me, it's about devotion and serving people and expressing them in the way they wish to be served. It's not about us. But it's not far from us either, because we're also human. To pick another example, say we have a ceremony, the kind of ceremonies I love to do. I love to do these public ceremonies on sacred and humanistic themes, or like about nature. So take a simple ceremony that would mark the winter solstice. Something really is happening astronomically. It really is the longest night of the year. But what does that mean poetically in human terms on the earth where we live? Many themes come to my mind. Darkness, mystery, inwardness, rest. Winter is a time for taking stock, for cozying up and warming ourselves at the hearth, both in our homes and in our inner worlds, and for transforming what we have grown and harvested into actual nourishment and sustenance until the growth of the light quickens our world and everything sprouts forth again. The solstice is a time of return, of quiet and hope, where the seed for new life is planted. It's the darkest night where light is reborn. When I was a kid, it always amazed me that the days start getting longer in winter, not shorter. But paradox and values are defining features of the game that we're taking on as celebrants. Now, ceremony, in my view, and rituals is about action in light of this paradox and mystery. As with marriage and change of seasons, for example, something is happening, and not just abstractly in la-la land, although I know I can get a little on the woo-woo side sometimes. People really are getting hitched in the eyes of the law, the night really is long, and these changes really matter to us. But it's the underlying reality, the mystery woven into these facts that give our lives, and the ceremonies that mark our lives, their juice. And all ceremonies, it is our action in the face of these changes, lighting candles, taking out a tree, greeting the sunrise, December 22nd, jumping a broom, breaking a glass, that all-important smooch that seals it as a spell for you, your clients, and the witnessing community. Recognizing this and remembering this helps us to grow as individuals, and it binds us as a group. In fact, the word religion itself comes from Latin, meaning to connect us, to bind us again, which I was interested to learn that. Ligament, ligare, religion, whatever. Anyway, it's the role of the celebrant to create the conditions and the structures for these perceptions to emerge, and then to hold that space safe and sacred, and to offer authoritative guidance to the group in negotiating and shaping the archetypal energies that naturally circulate among us and within us. We are sort of a combination shaman, impresario, showman or showwoman, and most important, we're fellow human beings. The celebrant is a leader, and like any good leader, he can't take people someplace he's never been or is unwilling to go himself. He goes first, stands in for the others. He is vulnerable. Forgive my he all the time. I know it's mostly women here, but he lends authenticity to the ceremony by his willingness to immerse himself deeply in the nitty-gritty human and transcendent values of any ceremony that he addresses. That is what gives everyone permission to go there themselves. Because he cannot be touched without being transformed himself, the celebrant is doing some personal exploration here. Because he is doing it in the service of others as they wish to be served, he builds community. That's where the all-important personalized and client-centered dimension of our work comes in. This is what, for me, makes celebrancy a spiritual path and which informs and defines the ministerial side of our work. We are all familiar with this personalization aspect. What do we do at that initial interview? We listen. We really listen. We ask questions. We engage. We're receptive. We're curious. We witness. We're open. We create a space where our client can find their own gold and offer it up to us for burnishment and transformation. For a funeral, we want to know, what was it that made that person unique? That could only be them. What did they make possible for the client, for his loved ones, for his world, that wouldn't have been possible if that person had never lived? What's gone from the world now? What abides? How would this person wish to be remembered? How will they actually be remembered? What are we grateful for in light of his or her life? All in all, what are the values? What is at stake? In any ceremony, We've been given a brief, fleeting by moment to share information, to share wisdom, to express ourselves, and to acknowledge and transform. What will we share? What are we transmitting? What can you tell me? So Collective Wisdom Conference and graduation offers us the same opportunity. So let's just take a moment here to explore this together. Now, you all became celebrants for your own reasons, but I bet you there's an underlying thread that connects the reasons, even though they're really different. This is what I'm talking about. So I'm going to use this old chart here. We'll just take a moment. And people could just, is anybody here as a good and clear writer that could take a moment? Are you? Great. Please come up. Thank you. And I'm going to invite you all, oh, here's the pen. Thank you.
Thank you.
To sort of talk a little bit about, huh? Oh, can everybody? See, it says welcome, so that, I mean that. So let's just talk about some values that celebrancy and being a celebrant and becoming a celebrant bring up for us. What are some of the reasons we got into this game? We don't have to be formal about it. Just anybody want to say something? Truth. Good. Truth, authenticity. Service. Great. Joy. Neutrality. Okay, good. So being a witness, just being there, a mirror, so to speak. Meaning. Okay, I like it. Anybody else? Sorry? Connection. Beautiful. Great. Respect for the culture. Good. Respect for the culture. What were you saying? Art? Great. Art. Wow. Huh? Calling. Say it loud. Keep going. I love this. This is great. We're on a roll here. Honor. Wow. Inclusion. Spread the love. Celebration. Acceptance. Giving permission. Huh? Holding the story. Okay, good. Spirituality. Okay, marking transition and change. Sir, in the back? History. Okay. Action. Oh, passion. Okay, passion. Action. Mindfulness. Offering alternatives. All right. All right, let's... Right. Okay, so openness and anarchy, a sense of possibility and adventure. Presence. Sorry? Community. I love it. Okay, that's great. Let's have one more. Listening, and I'll take two more. I'm sorry? I'm sorry? Navigation. Vision. Wow. That's great. No, that's good. That's good. I mean, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. Let's give a clap. Not only did she write them beautifully, but she even brought the easel. I mean, that's the celebrant way. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. So look at that. Now I say that any one of those things would make a fantastic ceremony. Or any of them can be, or any one of them can be included, legitimately included in any ceremony that you want to do, whether it's a birth or a funeral or a divorce ceremony or a new car or a graduation or even just, you know, as a theme itself. I love doing this, like a theme of love. How great is that, right? Just do with it, what's love? And you get all these wise people to talk about it, and you have music and poetry and a sacred space and all that. That's what celebrants can do, and it's so amazing because it's not far from us, but it's under the surface, but it's what's really kind of, it's, to me, in my view, and I'm a bit romantic about this, I think those things are what's really going on here, and the rest of it is just a disguise, basically. It's just kind of like, it's the beard. It's the beard. So many values. All of them are the faces of a whole of what we do, and none of them is the whole picture. We know this. We know this. And that leads me to another point. In my view, ceremony, as in human life, the goal is not purity, but wholeness. It's not about being pure. It's about being complete, in my view. The symbols that we use, for example, in ceremonies, and that which religions also use, are not signs that sum something up. They're not just what they are, but they point to something that can't be contained. There's your idea of anarchy again. And in some religions can't even be named. That's why we use music, poetry, personal recollections, candles, scents, movements, silence, art, tears, laughter, silence in our ceremonies. The more angles are included, the more it approximates the truth, the more whole it is, even though it will never get there. It's like, remember when you're a kid and you draw a square and you keep lopping off corners? And the more corners you lop off, the more round it gets, but it can never get completely round. It's never a perfect circle. So I'm almost done, but I want to pick a couple of examples that sort of illustrate this point. It's the modern convention, and one that I welcome, by the way, for funerals and memorial services to be celebrations of life. But in my experience, funeral attendees, I'm a funeral and a wedding guy. Funeral attendees also find it viscerally satisfying to directly acknowledge also the harsh sting of personal loss and the blunt truth of death during the service, even briefly. It's okay to say, well, this is a great life, but they also like the idea that we just stop and say, God, I'm really going to miss this person, like just let it hurt for a minute, Doing so, I found, can serve as a gateway for personal reflection, gratitude, and ultimately a more nuanced and full-bodied affirmation and celebration of the entirety of who the deceased was. The whole assembly can then move on together. Or consider personal vows in a wedding ceremony. This is a rap I give a lot of my clients. In a vow, we express one of these deep underlying values in our promise, but we also acknowledge the shadow side of it. Vows, for instance, are usually done in light of some principle, divine or otherwise. Maybe it's God, maybe it's a community, maybe it's nature, in light of which we want to be held accountable. We're actually saying, put my feet to the fire on this one. And we recognize by doing that our own tendency not to fulfill on what we're promising. If I promise to be faithful, for example, if I choose to say that in my personal vow, it's because I know I kind of have a little eye for the ladies. And then I have to remember, I promised God that I would be faithful, or I promised her that I wouldn't do that. If I promise to be kind or patient, it's because I know I can be mean or quick to anger. And so this is what I mean by complete. So once you do that and you say, well, it's also this way, it's this and that, then the whole thing has a much more of a whiff of something that's really real and people can be touched. The power that comes from this authenticity moves and inspires us and gives us courage to be fully human and to have a great time while we're doing it. It helps us to know ourselves and each other better and connects us with the mystery at the core of our human journey. This is what being a celebrant is all about for me, and why this path is both noble and mundane, humorous and solemn, and endless as the nighttime sky. Thank you.